الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. من يهده الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأما بعد، فإن شر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise be to Allah. We seek His guidance. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his last messenger. Whoever Allah guide, nobody can misguide. And whoever Allah misguide, nobody will guide. The worst of matters are innovations in religions, and every innovation in a religious method is a bid'ah, and every bid'ah will lead the persons that follow it astray, and being astray leads to hellfire. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. We are now, as the Hajj season is approaching its ends, in Ayyam al-Tashriq, the days of 11, 12, and 13 of the Hijjah. It's days of Eid, days of happiness for Muslims, days of celebrating, and days of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَةٍ. These are the days for us to remember Allah. While we are wrapping the Hajj season, and a lot of the rituals in the Hajj is following the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam, there's 3 lessons that we can learn from the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, and there are 3 matters that we should try taking lessons and taking observations from the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam to be careful and to try to follow. The first lesson is ما معنى الاتكال على الله? What does it mean to put all your belief and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell you to do? Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he gets the orders from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he did not look for logic. He did not try to figure out, like, is this what Allah wants me to do or not? He did not try to find another alternatives. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, take your wife, Hajar, and your son, Ismail, and go and leave them in this place. He did not start thinking, oh Allah, are you sure you want to go there? It's a desert, there is nothing around them. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam knew exactly what it means to follow the orders of Allah and to be muttakkil on Allah. Put all his trust and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he arrived there and he left his wife with a baby, with a nursing baby, and he started leaving, she followed him. And she was asking him, why are you leaving us here? What are we supposed to do here? And Ibrahim alayhi salam kept walking. He did not answer. So she asked him, is this what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had ordered you to do? And he told her yes. And when he told her yes, she stopped asking him anymore about why are they being left there. She told him, if Allah told you to leave us here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not abandon us. And this is something for us to reflect on and try to understand what does it mean to follow the orders of Allah. Today, unfortunately, is the age we live in with social media and news and easy access to information. Not all the information are accurate. So you find some people try to give you light, and we are not saying that Islam does not promote science. To the opposite. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, in the creation of earth and the sky and heaven, and the rotation of day and night, signs for the people who use their brain. So Islam is a religion that encourages us to follow the knowledge and science. But in the umur of worship, in the umur of ibadah, we do what Allah asks us to do. So unfortunately today you find some people who try to do, I don't know, like try to find something extra, tell you, oh, you pray because when you go down in prayer, there is like maghnatis, there is stuff from earth, and the energy go from your body. So if someone else comes with scientific theory and proves that this is wrong, what do we do? Like we stop praying? Or other people tell you, oh, we fast in Ramadan because if you're like 12 hours, your metabolism. So if someone else like prove for you something else scientifically about metabolism, you stop fasting? No. So the point is, understand as Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam understood what the orders of Allah mean. So when Allah tells us pray, we pray. Not because there is like something in the earth that will go out from our body when we go down. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us fast, we fast because this is the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Sayyidina Ibrahim in Surah Al-Nahl, he said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن إبراهيم كان أمة قانتا لله حنيفا ولم يكن من المشركين. That Ibrahim alayhi salam was an imam, was leading in doing good deeds, was always obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he never left the religion of monotheism, millat tawheed. The second lesson we get from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Hajar and his son when he put them in Mecca is the priorities. Know what are our priorities in life and try to act accordingly. Unfortunately, there are some people today that think that the priority in life is success in this earthly life. You may find a person who you can sit down with them and they will tell you their plan for the next year. When they are going to take vacations, where they are going to go, what other events they are invited to, and there is nothing wrong in this. Islam is a religion of balance. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبُكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Islam is asking us to live in this earthly life according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do, and at the same time to worship Him. Unfortunately, some of these same people who will be able today to tell you what, inshallah, they're still alive, what they are going to do December 2025, come Eid Day, if Eid Day is a weekday, complaining, oh brother, why are you taking no time in the khutbah? Or why is it this time I want to go to work? So you plan for everything in your life, and you forget to plan for these two important days. So when we look at what Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam did once he left once he could not see Hajar and Ismail anymore, he turned around in the for the sake of time, I'm just going to take like portions of the ayahs and I'll do some of them in English. He says, "Oh Allah, I have made some of my offsprings to dwell in a valley with no civilization and no cultivation, in an empty valley, by your sacred house." But what's the first thing he said? لِيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, so they can establish prayer, so they can worship you. After he said the first thing about the priorities, لِيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, then he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ وَارْزُقْهُم مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يشكرون. So after he put the priority is worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asked him, "Oh my Lord, let the hearts of people go towards them. Let them, and also give them risk, give them sustenance of foods and other things, لَعَلَّهُمْ يشكرون." So they give thanks to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Sayyidina Ibrahim could have done the opposite. Could he first tell him, "Allah, I left them here. I got this young boy Ismail after all these years, and you know better than me about like how old I am. Please make sure that they are alive." No. He told him first, لِيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, because Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam used the priorities. Use the awlawiyat. What comes first, what comes second. So this is the second lesson we should try to take from this and know what should be the priority in our life. The priority in our life should be to strive as much as we can to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the proper ways and manners Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to worship. Then we can take care of our earthly life. The lesson number 3 is to be careful what we say. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what means that sometimes you have people sitting somewhere, talking casually, not understanding what they say. They say something that sends them 70 years down in hellfire. And unfortunately, mainly in the Arabic language, since I'm a native speaker of Arabic, I can talk about the Arabic language. I don't know about other languages, but unfortunately, sometimes in the Arabic language, there's a proverbs that if people say, they put them out of Islam. These proverbs, astaghfirullah al-azim, either questioning the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or questioning the qada and qadar or something, and people say them casually in the streets, in countries that claim that they are Muslim countries, in countries with majority, 90, 95%, or even 100% of the population are Muslims. So we have to be careful and pay attention to the words we say. Some people, like when something happens to them, they say something where they are making dua against themselves. And this is something that Prophet ﷺ had prohibited us from doing, because you never know when is the hour of istijaba, when it will be a time that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may listen to you in this hour. So Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim, the wife of Ibrahim, when her son Ismail became thirsty, she started wanting to look for water. So she started running between the two hills, Safa and Marwa. And she ran 7 times, and that's why until today part of Hajj and Umrah is to do these rituals, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders. When she came back after some time, she found water under the foot of Ismail, which is the well of Zamzam. So she started saying Zem, Zem, Zem. She's telling the water to kind of like squeeze or stop running. And it became the well. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, رحم الله هاجر وغفر الله لهاجر. May Allah have mercy on Hajar. May Allah forgive her. Not because like something wrong, but may Allah have mercy on her. If she did not say this word, Zem, 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 it would have been a river that runs through Mecca today. So these are, in the first part, the 3 very, very important lessons. And there is hundreds of lessons we can take from the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam. But the 3 lessons I want to share, starting by myself and share with you today, understanding what it does mean, understand what does it mean that we put our trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other one understands the priorities, worshipping first and taking care of dunya better. And the third lesson is to be careful what we say Because as I mentioned, the hadith say a person may be sitting, saying something casually that puts him down 70 years وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ in hellfire. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Now, the three things out from the rituals of Hajj, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that we should try to implement in our life, that we should try to pay attention to, make sure that we are practicing. The first one of them is ta'zeem sha'a'ir Allah, is to give the respect and the time is due for the rituals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in Surah Al-Hajj, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went through describing the different rituals that people should do there, He said, ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Thus, it who gives obligation and honor and respect the rituals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a sign of the piety of the heart. And part of the horse being careful in paying respect to the rituals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowing the importance of these blessed days. So even if a human being has some shortcomings in their ibadah, even if someone has shortcomings when he or she, during other times of the year, do things they are not supposed to do, at least at the minimum, to show respect for the sha'a'ir of Allah, to show respect for these blessed days, the person should abstain from these things and should try to focus all their energy in being as good or as perfect Muslims as they can be during these days. And part of showing respect to the rituals of Allah is paying attention to the matter of Udhiyah or Qurban, to the slaughtering. And I'm not a sheikh or Imam al-Mufti here. I know that it's an obligation for every person who has the financial means to do it. Now, I know there's different opinions whether someone has to go and do it by himself or herself here in the States, and there's opinions that say it's okay, that you can donate some money to someone who's slaughter in some other poor Muslim countries. I'm not going to get into this portion, but I want to say that it is very, very important that we keep this Sha'ira alive. We are keen to either doing it here by ourselves or make sure that we donate money to one of these organizations or maybe relatives to do the slaughtering in another country and to teach it to our next generation. Because you go back 100 years and you tell a person how do you get your food, tell them, oh, I have my farm here, I slaughter something. Today, people think that the food is manufactured in HD or Walmart because that's what the kids see. I mean, we're living in cities, we're not living in villages. Because the important part to understand that this is something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do as an order. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لن ينال الله لحومها ولا دماغها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not receive the meat nor the blood of the sacrifice, but it is the piety from you, showing that you is following the orders, the rituals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you have to do during these specific days. The second item we want to get out from these blessed days is to understand the real meaning of our religion and to know who Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam is. Because unfortunately, as I mentioned, we're living in times of a lot of false information, social media, accessibility to all kinds of materials which may or may not be accurate. And we have to be careful with our new generation because there is this poisonous idea out there that say, there is something called Ibrahim religion. You're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Jew, it's the same. We all, like our prophets, are offsprings of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and we are the same. And that's not true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered all these people more than 1,400 years ago in Al-Imran. He said, ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. And I'm very sure, especially our younger generation, they will get exposed to this poisonous idea. They will, somewhere or another time during their lifetime, hear this garbage. That, oh, the religion, that Ibrahim religion, even unfortunately, Allah Musta'an, some places, oh, we're building one place of worship, Muslim, Jews, Christians can worship there. We should teach our kids that this is not the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said Ibrahim was neither a Jew nor a Christian, but he was a true Muslim Hanif. And was Muslim here someone who has surrendered his will and his life to the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone who worshipped Allah alone, but nobody else. And someone who was not a polytheist, someone who was not associated anything with the worship of Allah. And this is something very, very important, because when we talk about Hajj, you cannot talk about Hajj without talking about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. And that's where sometimes this crazy idea can come in, can affect the mind of our youth, and we have to be careful in this time and age to understand that Ibrahim alayhi salam was Muslim Hanif and he was not anything else. And in other verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, how can you claim that Ibrahim could have been a Jew or Christian, while Ibrahim was before I revealed the Torah, it was before I revealed the Injil. So, and in another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ أَوْلَى النَّاسَ بِإِبْرَاهِيمَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُ وَهَذَا النَّبِيُّ. That verily among mankind, the best who have claimed to Ibrahim alayhi salam are the ones who followed him at this time, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and who follow the religion of Islam. So this is something extremely, extremely important. I mean, I don't know how much emphasis I can put on this, because you will meet people in their 50s, in their 60s, people who grow up until they were 25, 30 years old, even like 40 years old in majority Muslim countries, and who come and tell you, oh, what's wrong in telling someone a happy Easter or Merry Christmas? We believe in Jesus. Yes, we believe in Jesus as a prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we as Muslims, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us we have two Eids, that's what we honor, that's what we celebrate. The third point is الثبات على الحق. Say the truth. Say what is authentic, and don't worry about what people think. Ibrahim alayhi salam was a young boy when he went to challenge his own people and tell them what are the stones you worship. He destroyed his stones. He was not afraid from the powers of that time. He knew that truth is the truth and we have to be truthful to the truth. Today, it's very, very hard to break it, and I'm going to say it. That you find Muslim leaders, Muslims who have, whatever you want to call them, leaders, sheikhs, ulama, you put the title, I'm not going to put title there, who have a lot of followers, who are afraid to say the truth. They get asked about stuff that pure, clear cut in Islam. There is no ifs and buts about it, there is no issue, whether it is matters of worship, whether it's matters of people like Qawmud, lesbian, gays, and all this garbage we have these days, and they like cringe. They are afraid to tell things as it is. And it's really heartbreaking when you find pastors, priests, and rabbis who are standing up and telling the truth, that the Bible has condemned these people, or the Torah has condemned these people. And we are Muslims. We are the people who claim that we have the complete revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the people who our book has not been changed. We are the people that the message that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam bring to us from Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have not changed. And we know that Allah is the one in full control of the earthly matters. And some of these people in leadership are afraid from the people more than they are afraid from Allah. And they are afraid to say the truth as it is. And if someone from their community says the truth as it is, they don't even have the courage to say the word and defend them. And this is shameful. And this is something we should put in our youth, that Ibrahim alayhi salam, he did not shy from telling the people of his time, what is these stones you are worshipping? And he reached a point where he destroyed these stones. And he wasn't worried about what would the people say about me when something happened to me, because he knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of all the earthly affairs, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be his protectors. Because some people try, and I'm going to wrap it here, some people try to tell you, we're living in a time, there is no hope, we're wasting our time, why are we trying to change this, why are we trying to change that? No. You have to say the truth as it is, regardless what it is. And I don't know how many of you may follow or not follow the local news, but you will find today like that the Supreme Court have ruled for a man who has the courage to go and challenge his employer, United States Postal Services. I will not work on Sunday because it's the day of my worship and I go to the church. And took a long journey. He didn't say, you know what, maybe this week I can skip church and next week I'll go and it's not very important. No. He took it the whole way to the Supreme Court and they came and say that employer had to give accommodation to people's religious beliefs, and this guy has the right to tell them I'm not working on Sunday. You have another case that was made today about a private bakery in Colorado who said, I'm not going to make cakes for a gay couple or a lesbian couple. It's against my Christian beliefs. And they sued him. And they tried to force him to make a cake to their wedding. And he refused. Or they refused, I don't know if it was he or she or a group who owns the bakery. And they won the whole road to the Supreme Court to say it is within their right to refuse service to something that contradicts with their religious beliefs. So what we have to teach our youth, what we have to teach our kids, if we say that our religion is the true religion from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this message we have is a message that did not change from the day Jibreel alayhi salam gave it to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, then we have to stand by this. Otherwise, we're hypocrites. If we go and try to tell our youth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of everything, and nobody can harm you except what Allah decided for you, then these youth and kids see us like cringing, afraid of saying the truth, not willing to stand to what's right and what's wrong. So this is something we really have to ponder about. And I'm not saying like, let's go and do crazy stuff. No, everything is within whatever the rules and the laws of this country allows, but part of the rules and the laws of this country allow us to say our opinion and to say our religion say this and our religion reject this or that. We should be like the people of other faiths or beliefs, be willing to stand up to what we believe in. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وبارك لنا اللهم فيما اعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الاحياء منهم والاموات. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وفرج همومنا. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا الا غفرته ولا مريضا الا شفيته ولا ميتا الا رحمته ولا سائلا الا اعطيته ولا مدينا الا قضيت عنه يا رب العالمين. اللهم يسر امورنا. اللهم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا ان نسينا او اخطانا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا اصرا كما حملته على الذين ان الله يامر بالعدل والاحسان وايتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واقيموا الصلاه ان الصلاه تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
استووا. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى، وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى، ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى، ووجدك ضالا فهدى، ووجدك عائلا فأغنى. فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر، وأما السائل فلا تنهر، وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله من حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف، فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. الله أكبر. سمع الله من حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله يجزيكم الخير يا الوليد كده نسمع صوتك دايما.
الله أكبر
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله